a difficult thing. Allow the elections to go through the normal process. Whoever wins will accept.
Mr. President, I propose that instead of using the word transmission, we should retain what is in the existing word extant law, which is transfer.
Don't transfer it, transmit it.
There is something very historic in Abuja. Young Nigerians, civil society groups, labor unions, political groups, political leaders, and every citizen of Nigerians are rising up, gathering outside the National Assembly and demanding something. We want transparency in our election. We want results transferred electronically and clear so that we know and see how our votes count. That is just the demand. Stay with me, guys, because what is happening now can shape the soul of our democracy, not just for 2027 but for every future generation. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what ignited the protests, what is electronic transmission and why it matters. What does this mean to Nigerians? And I'll also take us back to what happened in 2023 still concerning this electronic transmission of results. What Senator Akpabio and the Senate are saying, what other news reporters are saying, and what the Nigerian youths are saying, and the future. Will this protest yield results? And then my final thoughts on this. So please subscribe, turn on notifications, and watch to the end because this is a very serious matter. Now let's dive into the story properly. Protests are rising against the Senate Electoral Act changes ahead of 2027. Especially after the refusal to make real-time electronic transmission of results compulsory. And if we ignore it, we may wake up in a few years and realize that our democracy has quietly slipped away from us. Today in Abuja, Nigerians are on the streets. They are not protesting for money. They are not protesting for party politics. They are protesting for something very simple. Transparency in elections. They are demanding electronic transmission of election results. This issue is bigger than any politician, bigger than any party, and bigger than any election cycle. It is about whether the Nigerian vote will ever truly count. Right now, citizens are gathered around the National Assembly in Abuja. News reporters covering the protests describe it as peaceful but intense. They say people are holding placards calling for fairness, transparency, and protection of votes. Journalists on the ground says that the mood is serious and emotional. These are not paid crowd. These are people who feel ignored and tired of the same circle repeating itself. News stations have explained that the protest started because of a recent decision by the Senate to weaken an important part of the Electoral Act amendment. The clause that would have made real-time electronic transmission of election results mandatory was removed. Instead, the law now leaves electronic transmission to the direction of INEC without making it compulsory in real time. On paper, that may look technical, but Nigerians understand what that means in practice. Political analysts appearing on television have been very direct. They say when electronic laws are vague, those in power benefit the most. They argue that unclear laws create loopholes, and loopholes are where manipulation happens. Analysts warn that if real-time transmission is not enforced by law, it can be selectively applied, delayed, or quietly ignored. To understand the anger, we need to clearly explain what electronic transmission of election results means. It means that one voting ends at a polling unit and votes are counted openly in front of voters and party agents. The result is immediately sent electronically to a central system that everyone can see. This reduces human interference. It reduces manipulation. It reduces the chances of results being changed while moving from one office to another. It creates trust. Without it, results can pass through many hands, many rooms, many delays, and many opportunities for interference. Senate President Godswill Akpabio defended the Senate's decision. He said the Senate did not reject electronic transmission completely. According to him, Making real-time transmission mandatory could be risky because of network failures and technical issues. He argued that if technology fails in some areas, it could create legal problems and disputes. But political analysts responding to this explanation say technical challenges are not a reason to weaken the law. They said the solution is to strengthen infrastructure, not weaken electoral safeguards. They argue that many countries with worse infrastructures still enforce electronic transmission because the benefits outweigh the risk. This is where memory becomes painful. The 2023 elections are still fresh in the minds of Nigerians. In 2023, Nigerians were promised transparent elections. They were told technology would be used to protect votes. Many people came out to vote with hope, especially young Nigerians who believed that this would be a turning point. But what followed shocked many. Results were delayed, uploads were inconsistent. Some polling units showed results late or not at all. Collation centers became controversial. Confidence in the system collapsed. Many Nigerians believed that the final result did not fully reflect what happened at the polling units. Whether or not you supported any candidate, the trust was damaged. Political commentators today constantly refer to 2023 as a warning sign. They say the election exposed weaknesses in Nigeria's electoral system. Analysts argue that instead of fixing those weaknesses, lawmakers are now making them easier to exploit. Nigerian youths have been very vocal about this. Many young people say 2023 broke their trust. They say they voted believing technology would protect their votes, only to feel disappointed.
Nigeria people! You are the real distinguished Nigerians. These are honorable Nigerians. What do we want? Our vote must! Our vote must! Are you ready to march to the National Assembly?
Youth groups says this new amendment feels like the same strategy all over again. Weaken the law, then blame the system later. News reporters have also highlighted something that angers Nigerians deeply. While ordinary voters felt disappointed after 2023, some officials involved in controversial electoral processes later received appointments, including diplomatic roles. Analysts say this sends a dangerous message that there are no consequences for electoral failure or manipulation. This is why the protest is happening now, not later. News commentators say this is no longer just a legal debate. It has become a trust issue between the government and the people. Political analysts warning that changing electoral rules this close to 2027 creates suspicion. They argue that strong democracies strengthen election laws before elections, not weaken them. Credibility is built long before voting day, not during it. Peter Obi also joined the protest, and this is what he had to say.
Electoral process must be free and fair. I've said it several times. If you want to be answer His Excellency, if you want to answer distinguished, if you want to answer honorable, the process through which you come into office must be honorable, it must be distinguished, and it must be excellent.
Excellent.
And that process starts by, first, your qualification, which is stipulated in the law. You must show the primary school you went to, the secondary school, the university. That's where it starts. So you're qualified to even contest that election. You go through all the processes, through where we're going to have normal campaign, debates, everything, because you're offering yourself to the people. And finally, on that election day, the result must be transmitted from the polling booth, where the collection, where everybody will be seeing it.
Nigerian youths are speaking loudly about how they see the system. Many say elections are designed to recycle power. Among the same elites, they believe politicians manipulate system to remain in power and then position family members friends and godfathers to continue the circle. Youth says this is why voters turnout keeps dropping. People feel their votes no longer count. Labor unions and civil society groups have also raised alarms. They warn that if Nigerians lose faith completely in these elections, the country could face serious instability.
That's why we're here in the first place.
Yes.
If they never said they're against the people's wish, if they have never said they're against the people's will, what are the people asking for? Simple people. Let's be like other developed civilized nations.
Thank you.
These guys travel abroad, they see how countries are run. What has happened to us? Which God did our forefathers offend that this is happening to Nigeria? After 60-something years of our existence, we are still talking about electoral reform.
Can you imagine?
We should be ashamed of ourselves.
Honestly.
We should be ashamed of ourselves.
Analysts say distrust in election affects security, the economy, and national unity. When people feel cheated, they withdraw from democracy, and that weakens the entire nation. So the big question remains, will Nigeria ever change? This is not a theoretical question. Nigerians are asking from pain, disappointment, and years of watching election come and go while their lives remain the same. The truth is uncomfortable. Nigeria will not change because politicians suddenly decide to do the right thing. Nigeria changes only when the cost of wrongdoing becomes too high. Every major reform Nigeria has achieved came because people refused to be silent. The protest is part of that tradition. But we must be honest here. Protests alone do not guarantee success. Many protests in Nigeria have faded without result. What determines success is persistence, unity, and vigilance after the camera leaves. Already, the pressure is having an effect. The Senate has been forced to call emergency meetings. Lawmakers are now speaking publicly. The issue is no longer hidden inside legal documents. It is now a national conversation. Analysts say this proves that public pressure works. However, analysts also warn that Nigerians must not relax. They say lawmakers often respond publicly, but quietly maintaining the same policies behind the scenes. Youth leaders have echoed this, saying attention must not fade once the protest ends. Electronic transmission of election results, analysts insist, is not a luxury. It is a democratic necessity. It protects voters. It protects winners. It protects national stability. When people trust elections, they accept the outcomes. When they don't, anger grows and democracy weakens. Some people argue that technology is not perfect. That is actually true. But analysts say manual systems are far worse. Technology can fail, but it leaves evidence. Manual systems fail silently. Results can be changed quietly and no one knows. The fear Nigerians have is simple. If the law is weak, those in power will exploit it. And by the time 2027 arrives, it will be too late to complain. So, will this protest yield results? No one can guarantee that, but silence would guarantee failure. Pressure creates possibility, and possibility creates hope. Nigeria is at a crossroad again. One path leads to deeper mistrust, lower voter turnout, and controlled elections. The other path leads to transparency, accountability, and gradual democratic growth. Neither path is easy, but one leads forward. The responsibility does not rest on lawmakers alone. Nigerians must stay informed, must read laws, must ask questions, must refuse distraction. Democracy does not fail overnight. It fails slowly when people stop paying attention. This moment matters. What happens next matters. And 2027 is closer than many people think. Nigerians, this moment really matters. If Nigerians remain engaged, then yes, there is hope. We shouldn't stop fighting. We shouldn't give up. Hope must be defended every single time. Democracy is not a gift, it is a responsibility. And right now, Nigeria is being tested. Thank you for staying with me to the end of this one as we pray for a better Nigeria. Till I see you in my next video, it's Ima saying bye for now.
Jewel TV.